Hello everyone and welcome to my second Pokemon Challenge video. Just like before with our Bulbasaur run, I hope you're ready for yet another challenge, this time featuring Charmander. Before we get going too far, just a quick once-over of the rules. Rule number 1, no glitches, hacks, or cheats. I do, however, use speed up, otherwise these videos would take far longer to produce and I'd rather produce them quickly. Rule number 2, I can only use one Pokemon in battle. However, because I am not cheating, I do need to use HM Pokemon for travel purposes only. Rule number 3, no items in battle. This may change in future videos, but for now, this is what we're going with. I will note though that I'm considering allowing Everstones as a held item for future videos. With all that out of the way, let's begin. I start by choosing Charmander, who we actually get really lucky with as it turns out to be a rash-natured Charmander. This means increased special attack, but decreased special defense. We enter our first rival fight against his Squirtle, and after some attack trading, we win with ease. After we do our errand for Professor Oak and get the Pokedex, we head back to Viridian City and enter our second rival fight after some light grinding. We start off with an Ember against Pidgey, doing roughly half, while Pidgey uses a Sand Attack. We go for another Ember and miss, while Pidgey uses Tackle. We finally go for one more Ember and knock out Pidgey easily. Next up is Squirtle, who we outspeed, but unfortunately the Scratch misses and we take a Tackle. We then begin trading Scratches and Tackles, eventually letting us come out on top, but not by much. Viridian Forest was super easy, and we made sure to fight every trainer so that we could learn Metal Claw before taking on Brock. Starting our encounter with Brock, he leads with Geodude and we outspeed with Metal Claw. That does about half, and then we get hit with Tackle. Next turn we land another Metal Claw and take out Geodude. Onix is up next, and we hit it with a Metal Claw, but we're hit with a Rock Tomb, lowering our speed. We're then hit with Bind, but we hit another Metal Claw. We then get hit with a Tackle, but we land our last Metal Claw, knocking out Onix and winning us the Boulder Badge. We run through Mount Moon and grab the Helix Fossil, as is tradition, before heading to Cerulean City. Upon arriving at Cerulean City, we skip Misty for now and instead take on our next rival fight. Our rival leads with Pidgeotto and we outspeed with Ember. We're then hit with a Sand Attack and manage to knock out Pidgeotto with another Ember. Squirtle is next, who we Smokescreen while it withdraws. We then land another Smokescreen while it goes for Tail Whip. We continue setting up more Smokescreen while Squirtle tries to use Water Gun and withdraw, but fortunately for us, it just can't get anything through. We go for an Ember and miss while it hits us with Tail Whip. We then land an Ember and get hit with Water Gun. We land another Ember while it misses another Water Gun. We land another Ember and it lands another Water Gun. We go for yet another Ember and this time we get a Burn while it misses Water Gun again. Then we land a Metal Claw, expecting more damage, but it doesn't matter since the Burn takes it down anyways. Next up is Abra, who can't really fight back since it only knows Teleport. An Ember and a Scratch takes it down easily. Last up is Rattata, who we knock out with a single Ember, earning us the win. After helping out Bill, we move to our fight with Misty. This fight was very difficult due to her type advantage, and so we had to grind a fair bit. Nevertheless, we enter the fight with Ember, replaced by Flamethrower. Misty leads with Staryu, and thankfully we outspeed and one-shot with Flamethrower. Starmie is up next, who we also outspeed and hit with Flamethrower, doing half. We then get hit with a Water Pulse, which takes half our HP. We then land another Flamethrower and take down Starmie, earning ourselves the Cascade Badge. After Misty, we head down to Vermilion City and challenge our rival on board the SS Anne. Our rival leads with Pidgeotto, but we outspeed and one-shot with Flamethrower. Next up is Wartortle, who we Smokescreen immediately while it withdraws. We land another Smokescreen while it withdraws again. We go for another Smokescreen while it again uses Withdraw. Eventually, we're satisfied with the Smokescreens and start to use Flamethrower, bypassing the defense upgrades from withdraws. After 3 Flamethrowers, Wartortle finally faints. Raticate is up next, which we easily one-shot. Kadabra is last, which we also easily one-shot. After seeing the SS Anne off, we ignore Surge for now, I forgot why, and instead head over to Lavender Town. There, we face off against our rival once again. He leads with Pidgeotto, and we one-shot with Flamethrower. Next up is Wartortle, who we smokescreen upon entry while it uses Withdraw. We land another smokescreen and it goes for yet another Withdraw. Another smokescreen and another Withdraw. It keeps going like this for a while until we decide to go for a Flamethrower, doing just under half. We then go for another, just shy of knocking it out. It then hits a Water Gun and we go for Slash to take it down. Next up is Growlithe, who we're just shy of one-shotting with Flamethrower. Next turn we take it out with a Slash. And then Execute is up next, which we do manage to one-shot, and lastly is Kadabra, which we also one-shot with Flamethrower. After taking care of our rival in Lavender Town, we head to Celadon City, and then take on Giovanni. Giovanni leads with Onix, who we're just shy of one-shotting. It uses Harden, and on the next turn, we knock it out with Flamethrower. Up next is Rhyhorn, who we one-shot with Flamethrower. Last up is Kangaskhan, who we hit with Flamethrower and do half before it hits us with a Bite. Next turn, we take it down with Flamethrower. With Giovanni handled for now, we head over to Erica, who I'm expecting to be an easy sweep given our type advantage. She leads with Victory Bell, who we one-shot with Flamethrower. Next up is Tangela, who we also one-shot with Flamethrower. And lastly is Vileplume, who we also one-shot with Flamethrower, earning us the Rainbow Badge. Yep, pretty easy as I expected. After defeating Erica, we decide to head back to Vermilion City and take on Surge. I completely forgot why we skipped him earlier, but here we are. Anyways, he leads with Voltorb, who actually outspeeds us at level 49 and lands a Shockwave, which also paralyzes us for the remainder of the turn. Then it lands a Sonic Boom, and we're paralyzed again. Then it goes for another Shockwave, and we're still paralyzed. Then it hits another Shockwave before we finally land our Flamethrower for the one-shot. Pikachu is up next, who outspeeds and uses Double Team, but we land our Flamethrower anyways in one shot. Last up is Raichu, who goes for a Double Team and we're paralyzed for the turn. It goes for Double Team again, and this time we miss our Flamethrower. It uses Double Team again and we miss again. Another Double Team and another miss. Yet another Double Team, but this time we hit the Flamethrower for the one shot, earning us the Thunder Badge. A surprisingly close fight considering how overleveled we are. After handling Surge, we head to the Safari Zone for something very important for later, Double Team. After grabbing Double Team, we head straight for Koga, who leads with Coughing. We start off with a Flamethrower and get a one-shot. Next is Muck, who we outspeed and land a Flamethrower for half while it uses Acid Armor. We go for another Flamethrower and this time take it out. Next up is another Coughing, who we one-shot with Flamethrower just like the first. Lastly is Wheezing, who we hit with Flamethrower for a good chunk before it hits us with Sludge. Next turn we hit it with Flamethrower again and earn ourselves the Soul Badge. With the Soul Badge in our possession, we decide to handle the Team Rocket takeover of Saffron City. Before we can fight Giovanni though, we have to fight our rival again. Our rival starts off with Pidgeot, who we one-shot with Flamethrower. Next up is Blastoise, and we decide to try for a burn with Flamethrower. We take a Water Gun, but decide to go for another Flamethrower. We're hit with another Water Gun, but it doesn't matter because we take it out with another Flamethrower next turn. Growlithe comes out next, who we one-shot with Flamethrower. Execute is next, who we also one-shot with Flamethrower. And last up is Alakazam, who we managed to one-shot with Flamethrower for the win. After our rival fight, we face off with Giovanni. Giovanni leads with Nidorino, who we outspeed in one-shot with Flamethrower. Rhyhorn is next, who we just barely don't knock out with Flamethrower. It hits us with Stomp, and we take it out on the next turn with Slash. Kangaskhan is up next, who we outspeed and hit with Flamethrower and land a Burn despite failing to knock it out. The Burn just barely doesn't take it out, but we manage to hit Slash and take it down on the next turn. Nidoqueen is up next, and we do half with Flamethrower and also land a Burn. It hits us with the Body Slam and paralyzes us before using a Poison Sting. We're paralyzed for the turn and it uses Tail Whip, but right after we use Flamethrower and take it down, defeating Giovanni. After Giovanni, we decide to take on Sabrina while we're here in Saffron City. She starts with Kadabra, who we one-shot with Flamethrower. Next up is Mr. Mime, who we also one-shot with Flamethrower. After Mr. Mime is Venomoth, who we one-shot with Flamethrower. Last up is Alakazam, who we just barely missed the one-shot on. It uses Calm Mind, and then Sabrina uses a Hyper Potion before we can land our Flamethrower. One more turn later, and we land another Flamethrower, earning us the Marsh Badge. After taking down Sabrina, we fly to Pallet Town and then surf south to Cinnabar Island, where we can challenge Blaine. Blaine leads with Growlithe, and we opt to start setting up double teams. Growlithe lands a Fire Blast, and we go for another double team. We continue to double team while Growlithe misses and then lands another Fire Blast, proving Fire Blast is more accurate than it should be. Eventually, Growlithe starts to go for takedowns, missing them. We then decide to Flamethrower and just barely miss the one-shot. Blaine Hyper Potions and we go for Slash, doing half. We then go for another Slash and take out Growlithe. Ponyta is next, who we slash doing about a quarter health. Next turn we use Flamethrower and take it down. Rapidash is up next, who we Flamethrower for half health. It lands a Fire Blast despite our max evasion, and we land a Flamethrower. It lands another Fire Blast and then Blaine Hyper Potions before we can knock it out. We go for 2 Flamethrowers and finally take it down. Arcanine is last up, who we hit with Flamethrower and do half while it misses Bite. We go for another Flamethrower and knock it out, earning ourselves a Volcano badge. It's time for our last gym badge, and we're back face to face with Giovanni. This fight was hard since he uses more ground-type Pokemon this time. He leads with Rhyhorn and we Flamethrower, knocking it out with one attack. Next up is Dugtrio, who we also one-shot with Flamethrower. Nidoqueen comes out next, who we Flamethrower and just barely miss the one-shot while it does more than half health to us with Earthquake. Giovanni then Hyper Potions twice, while we fail to one-shot it twice. Then he withdraws Nidoqueen and sends out Rhyhorn, who we almost one-shot, but take it out on the next turn. Nidoqueen is then sent back out, who we then also knock out. Nidoking is last up, who we manage to one-shot, earning us the Earth badge. With all of our badges, we can finally challenge the Pokemon League. Except we have another rival battle first. Our rival leads with Pidgeot, who we one-shot with Flamethrower. Next up is Rhyhorn, who we use to set up our double teams. It misses several times until it finally lands a takedown, doing very little damage. We continue setting up double teams while it somehow manages to have more accuracy despite our heightened evasiveness, this time getting a crit and almost knocking us out. We then go for Flamethrower and knock it out. Blastoise is up next, who we Flamethrower while it misses Water Gun. We Flamethrower again while it misses Water Gun once more. We then go for one last Flamethrower and take it down. Growlithe is up next, who we one-shot with Flamethrower. Execute is then after Growlithe, who we also easily one-shot. And lastly is Alakazam, who we also managed to one-shot, winning us the fight and the right to take on the Elite Four. After significant grinding and grabbing Dragon Claw and Victory Road, we're ready to take on the Elite Four. The largest issue for us, actually, is the start of the Elite Four with Lorelei. Lorelei leads with Dugong, who we outspeed in Fire Blast, doing about 2/3 and land Burn, while Dugong uses Safeguard. Lorelei then Hyper Potions while we go for a Dragon Claw, doing about half. We go for another Dragon Claw and take down Dugong. Next up is Cloyster, who we Dragon Claw and one-shot. Lapras is up next, who we Flamethrower for about 2/3 while it confuses us. The Safeguard wears off, and Lapras gets a Citrus Berry proc, but we power through the confusion and finish it off with a Flamethrower. Next up is Slowbro, and while we power through the confusion, miss our Fire Blast while it sets up Amnesia. We then land a Fire Blast for very minimal damage while it uses Yawn. We then go for Dragon Claw, doing a bit more, but ultimately not much. As we sleep, Slowbro lands a Surf, taking us below half health. But thankfully, we wake up soon and land a Dragon Claw to take out the Slowbro. Last up is Jinx, who we easily take out with Flamethrower, earning us the win against Lorelei. Up next is Bruno, who has a few Ground-type Pokemon on his team. Bruno leads with Onix, who we outspeed in one-shot with Flamethrower. Next up is Hitmonchan, who we also Flamethrower crit for the one-shot. Machamp is up next, who we just barely miss the one-shot on while it uses Bulk Up and gets a Citrus Berry proc. Bruno then Hyper Potions, but we land a Flamethrower. We then outspeed and land another Flamethrower, knocking out Machamp. Another Onix is up next, who we hit with Fire Blast, one-shotting it. Lastly is Hitmonlee, who we hit with Flamethrower and one-shot it, defeating Bruno. Agatha is our next challenge, who leads with a Gengar. We outspeed and land Flamethrower, one-shotting it. Next up is Golbat, who we also one-shot. After Golbat is Arbok, who we also one-shot with Flamethrower. Another Gengar is next, who is yet again another one-shot. Lastly is Haunter, who, you guessed it, is also another one-shot with Flamethrower. I was worried her Pokemon would outspeed, but I guess not. Lance is the last of the Elite Four in our way, and he leads with Gyarados. We outspeed and land Dragon Claw, taking it down by half health. It hits us with a Dragon Rage, doing very minimal damage, but then we hit it with another Dragon Claw to knock it out. Aerodactyl is up next, who we outspeed Fire Blast and do a little bit more than half health damage while it slows us down with a Scary Face. It then outspeeds us and lands an Ancient Power, but we take it down with a Flamethrower. Dragonite is up next, who outspeeds us and sets up Safeguard while we Dragon Claw for almost a one-shot. It procs a Citrus Berry and hits us with an Outrage, taking us out, but we land a Dragon Claw and take it down. A Dragonair is up next, who we one-shot with Dragon Claw, and then another Dragonair after that, which is also a one-shot. Lance was a bit easier than I expected thanks to Dragon Claw, which thankfully in this generation is considered a special attack. Our last rival fight is the last fight of the game. Our rival leads with Pidgeot, who we thankfully managed to one-shot with Flamethrower. Rhydon is next, and just like before, we use it to set up double teams. It misses a Scary Face, but lands it next turn, slowing us down. Rhydon continues to land Scary Face as we continue to set up double teams, trying to raise our evasiveness as much as possible to ensure that Blastoise can't hit us. Rhydon finally goes for an Earthquake, but misses while we one-shot crit it for the knockout. Blastoise is up next, who sets up a Rain Dance while we go for Dragon Claw. Blastoise goes for a Hydro Pump and misses while we land another Dragon Claw. Blastoise's Citrus Berry procs, and it misses yet another Hydro Pump while we land our last Dragon Claw to take it out. Alakazam is up next, who misses a Psychic while we land a Flamethrower for about half. It misses another Psychic while we land another Flamethrower, taking it down. Exeggutor is up next, who outspeeds us and lands an Egg Bomb while we land a Flamethrower in one shot. Arcanine is last, who misses a Flamethrower while we go for a Dragon Claw, doing about half health. It misses once more while we land another Dragon Claw, taking it out and earning us the title of the new Kanto Pokemon Champion. And with that, the run is done. I was worried that this run would be much harder than our Bulbasaur run, considering that Charmander doesn't have any stat-boosting moves beyond Double Team. Thankfully, we got our Rash Nature Charmander, which really assisted with our damage in the long run. I don't gen in my Pokemon, where I can avoid it at least. That'll have to change soon for other runs, or EV train them because I want these challenges to be as realistic an experience as possible, so I think we really got lucky here with Charmander's nature. Overall, I think this run was super fun, and I was pleasantly surprised with just how much damage Charmander was capable of doing without any stat boosts. I had heard that Charmander was the weakest of the Kanto starter Pokemon, but with a final time of 29 hours and 43 minutes, it comes out quite a bit ahead of Bulbasaur. Anyways, I stream this over on Twitch, which I plan on doing weekly. If you're interested in coming and hanging out, feel free to follow the link below to either my Twitch, my Twitter, or my Discord, and make sure that you hit the subscribe button for future challenges. Next week is going to be Squirtle in Pokemon Leaf Green, and I'm really excited to wrap up the Kanto starters. Also, if you liked this video, please feel free to leave a like, as it would really help me out a lot. This has been Shro, and thank you for watching.